Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. For our continue our discussion on startups, on business plans, getting your company where you want it to go. Got an international guest this segment, Ali David. He's calling in from Germany. He has an interesting company name. I like it. StartUpAlready.com. Ali, how are you today?
Hi, great. All good. Thank you for inviting me.
You bet. Give us an overview of what Startup Already is all about.
Well, actually, Startup Already is some kind of a consulting company. I started 3 years ago, and it focuses on startups, consulting to startups, and especially business plans for preparing business plans for startups.
Okay. And you started when?
I started it 3 years ago. I was working in big companies like KPMG and BDO. Those are one of the biggest companies for accountants in the world, and I just decided that I pretty much had enough of the mega companies. It was in Israel back then. I was in Tel Aviv. And after that, I just decided to go to the freelance path. And just a kind of exotic note, I've been traveling for the last 3 years, changing countries and working online. So it's more or less like following a dream of mine of constant change while also dealing with startups, which is something that I love, because startups is all about creating a new business, a new product from scratch, solving a problem that had no solution before. So this is something I can really feel I can connect to.
Yeah. So kind of give us a profile or an overview of people that are using your services.
Yeah, so there is a very vast range of people who need business plans usually. I would say something about consulting in general. We as business owners, I have two businesses, by the way, other than Startup Already. We never feel like we need consulting. You know, the push of someone from the outside telling us what we need to do in the business and what we need to work on is something that we can't really accept. And that's the beauty of business plans. Business plans are coming in a situation that you actually need the business plans, because usually you use the business plan for getting investment, for getting grants, or for getting loans. And it's a beautiful point that an owner of a company actually turns to you as a consultant and tells you, now I really need you. And what I basically do is prepare the document for the client and allow them to connect to the reader. The reader is supposed to put money in the business in return for equity. And on the move, what I'm doing is giving a lot of consultation, because preparing a business plan is all about checking your business model, checking your strategy and assumptions. So the process itself has a lot of added value.
Yep, talking to Ali Davis. Talking about StartUpAlready.com, and if you've been thinking about starting up your own business, great opportunity to explore that, StartUpAlready.com. Are you a solopreneur? Do you have a team? How do you operate?
Yeah, so I have kind of a global mindset. So I have a team. I have a technical writer from San Francisco. I have a financial guy from Argentina. I have a project manager person from Greece. So that's the beauty of the internet. I connect a lot of people. Each of them have their own expertise, and each of them is building a relevant part of the plan based on their expertise.
Mm-hmm. And typically, I'm just out of curiosity, what percentage of your clientele is out of the U.S.?
Yeah, I think it's about 60%. You know, I focus usually on startups, and the startup scene is bubbling in the U.S. It's really nice to see how much entrepreneurship and initiative there is in the U.S. in comparison, for example, where I am now in Europe. It's a little bit more slow. You know, Israel is also very vibrant. So a lot of business is coming from the U.S. And as you know, a lot of investors are coming through the U.S. as well. So there is a natural, let's say, bias to the U.S. And of course, the business plans are all in English. So that also pushes a little bit to the direction of working with U.S. clients.
Yep. So that's interesting. And of course, you know, I think unfortunately for us in the U.S., one of the reasons why you're seeing this huge growth in entrepreneurship, which is always a nice thing when it's voluntary, but, you know, a lot of it has to do with how stagnant our economy is. Incredible layoffs, people still, they're being laid off in their 50s and they're nowhere near interested in retirement and still need to make a living. And they feel hard pressed to go ahead and create a business. So, I'm glad that they aren't just throwing in the towel, but, it's kind of actually symptomatic of a lot of the problems we have going on in our economy. Let me ask you, in terms of investment, in terms of cost and using a firm like yours, what kind of ranges are involved?
Okay, I'll just say something about the very nice point you discussed. We used to think years ago that employment is guaranteed. We were getting a job for 30 years or 40 years. So starting a startup was something that was not logical. Now it's very much logical. The current state of the economy, like you said, the uncertainty about the job market is really a nice incentive to actually start something of your own. And I really think that in the U.S., you guys really understand, in comparison to other countries, that it's worth taking the risk. As for the cost, ranges from around, you can expect everything from around $700 to $2,500. The big companies, by the way, take around $50,000. And it all depends on your budget. So basically, people want to go on a very low budget, and there are several models. The first model is a mentoring model, that they actually do the job. Let's say this is a $700 business plan, and I just give them the mentoring and the review on their own job. And there is the full-scale business plan model that is at around $2,500. That's where you get an amazingly beautiful document. I will always say, and that's what I say to my specific clients, you guys have to work a lot. So it's not. It's really important for the listeners to know that if they prepare a business plan, they have to be, in order for the business plan to be successful, no matter which company you hire, it's how much interaction you have with the person you choose. Because my job as a producer of a business plan is to extract all the relevant information from you as the business owner, and definitely not decide what will be the right strategy for your business. This is something that the owners themselves have to give a lot of answers to a lot of very difficult questions.
Yeah.
And that's basically it.
Well, you got to wrap it up, Eli David. StartupAlready.com. I like that name. That's a nifty name. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you. Thanks, Karen. Thank you very much.
When we come back, we're going to have much more for you. I do want to remind you, this content here shows up over there at the national news website, usdailyreview.com. Stay tuned for more right after this.